Hello there, my name is John Sharon and I'm a consultant with Mahogany Row Consulting, and today we'll be discussing one of our clients, Emily Jedrek of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, and basically just diving into the challenges she faces as a manager within the Fiat Chrysler Automobile organization, and specifically within the Ram 1500 plant that she works at. So what we've done is produced a plan based on classical and modern management theories, and we're going to apply that to the specific challenges that she faces. So we've tailored a plan that addresses specific challenges that she faces within her managerial position at Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. So without further ado, I will introduce our panel of consultants. We have Mitchell Malam, Liz Bailey, and Tyler Lovell. To understand the unique challenges facing Emily Jedrek, we'll dive right into the long and storied history of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. It all started back in 1925 when Walter Chrysler founded the Chrysler Corporation officially. With that came groundbreaking innovation as far as Walter Chrysler incorporating a carburetor, air filter, high compression engine, full pressure lubrication, and an oil filter. And at the time, these things were unheard of. This is what really established Chrysler as a revered car brand in what was a booming industry. Just a few years later, Chrysler bought Dodge for a whopping $170 million, making them the third largest automobile manufacturer overnight. Not to mention, this also added a wealth of rich history, as Dodge largely contributed to the campaign to put America on wheels. After introducing the minivan in 1983, Chrysler bought Jeep, one of the most recognized automobiles on the planet, as a long history of being in Hollywood movies to being overseas in World War II. Essentially, Jeep was a brand everyone recognized and only added to the spread of vehicles that Chrysler could offer. Fast forward to 2014, and Fiat buys Chrysler, triggering a reorganization under the name Fiat Chrysler Automobiles as you know it today. Under the spread of their ownership, Chrysler owns Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, along with some defunct brands AMC, Eagle, and Plymouth. Under Fiat, they have Alfa Romeo, Maserati, Lancia, and a 90% stake in Ferrari. Our client, Emily Jedrek, works within the Dodge brand, specifically the plant where they make Dodge 1500 trucks. For starters, you got the big boys, Ford, which owns Lincoln, and General Motors, which owns Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. These are two American automobile powerhouses that compete with Chrysler for the title, the coveted title, of Best American Brand. With an industry this saturated, excellence and innovation is extremely crucial in every aspect and every facet. And that goes through the entire organization. So with that said, we'll have our consultant Tyler Lovell dive into the organizational chart at Fiat Chrysler Automobile, and specifically where our client, Emily Jedrek, lies within that organizational chart.
How's everyone doing today? My name is Tyler Lovell with Mahogany Row Consulting, and today I'll be going over the organizational chart for Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, more specifically their Sterling Heights assembly plant, and where our interviewee Emily falls on it. At first glance, it is apparent that the structure here is fairly horizontal with only two distinct levels. This allows for more efficient upstream communication since there really isn't a lot of distance to travel from bottom to top and vice versa. It also allows for better connection with frontline workers. While interviewing Emily, she really drove home the fact that no manager really reports to a superior. Instead, it is a pool of two-way communication from each manager to each other. What appears to be the third level is a grouping that is really in the second level, but for sake of space saving, we connected their respective place via dotted line. The top level consists of the plant manager, with the deputy plant manager essentially acting as the right-hand man. The second level is focused on the rest of the acting managers that specialize in different areas of the plant. The left grouping of managers consists of the central maintenance center manager, body manager, plant manager, and assembly manager. The right third is made up of the assembly manager for reprocess, launch coordinator, facilities manager, WCM lead, and the administrative assistant. Finally, in the middle, the quality manager, logistics manager, EH&S manager, HR manager, controller, metrology manager, and IE manager make up this middle portion of this chart. Emily, our interviewee, falls here in the circle as a human resource manager position. From what we gathered from our interview and prior research, her role consists of working with building team people capability, developing and deploying a robust talent management platform, employee development, as well as resolving complex employee issues such as conflict resolution and corrective action. Moving away from the organizational chart and how Fiat Chrysler Automobiles is structured, I'll send it to Liz Bailey for an analysis of the recommendations that we from Mahogany Row have come up with.
Hi everyone, my name is Liz Bailey, and after hearing about Emily's personal experience with Fiat Chrysler, we here at Mahogany Row Consulting had a few recommendations of our own that we thought would benefit the company overall. The first of that being was to incorporate new and more technology to its work. So Emily had said that many Fiat Chrysler employees tend to get set in their ways too much and don't really want to try out new programs. They would rather leave well enough alone and stick to what they're most comfortable with. So an example that she had for us was the simple task of joining a video chat call, which they used to communicate with coworkers during the heat of COVID-19. And this became a problem because many workers were not required to learn these new softwares or learn how to join a video chat call, so they just never did. And this goes with our first recommendation of incorporating these new technologies and more technologies to workers, because technology is changing all of our lives every day, and trying out new programs, new systems is pretty vital to maintaining a successful company. Piggybacking off of that, our second recommendation is to begin replacing older employees with younger ones, and this might sound bad, but it does make sense. Emily had said that one of Fiat Chrysler's main competitors, which is Ford, began buying out their older employees so that they're able to hire fresh sets of younger and more diverse eyes. This being because, like I said before, about some Fiat Chrysler employees who get stuck in their ways, it tends to be the older ones, and younger people seem to just have a better grasp about learning newer technologies, and they seem to know kind of what potential customers might want to see in a company. And it's also just statistically proven that having a more diverse company, you'll overall perform better. So it might sound bad to say replace the old people with the young people, but that's our second recommendation, is to kind of just follow in the footsteps of Ford and begin letting go of the older employees to make room for more potential for future success with the company with the younger workers. Our final recommendation to Fiat Chrysler is to adjust their disciplinary actions, because Emily told us a story about an employee who committed a felony, which is typically an automatic termination, but the company kept this person on their team and gave them little to no penalty. She also said how an employee basically has to get fired 3 times before they're actually really fired. So this is obviously an issue because it allows for a lot of problems to just get swept under the rug. And it also allows for a lot of bad employees to continue working with the company because their actions won't be dealt with properly. So we recommend to Fiat Chrysler that they adjust their disciplinary actions and go through their group norms to put the safety of their employees first, because I can only assume that some employees could not have felt super safe with a felon working with them. So we said to put the safety of employees first, and then success comes after.
To elaborate on the recommendations and the nit-gritty details of how we've applied modern and classical management theories onto those recommendations, we're going to go to Mitchell Malam to discuss how we've incorporated those management theories.
I'm Mitch Milam, and I'll be talking to you about how our manager's interview applies to a lot of different things that you see in the book. We are lucky enough to have our manager graduate from Grand Valley State University, so she was already very familiar with the management theories that we've been talking about in Management 331. Our manager shared with us her official organizational chart, but then went on to say that her company, Fiat Chrysler, is looking to transition into more of an inverted pyramid with the customers at the top, followed then behind by frontline employees. Our manager explained that out of all the management theories that we discussed with her from out of the book, that situational leadership is what best describes her and her practices. She agrees that based on an employee's level of confidence and commitment, she is able to mold her management practices to best suit their needs. Emily stated that when looking for new employees, Fiat Chrysler puts a very high emphasis on openness to experience. And that is because in the automotive industry, there are a lot of older employees, dinosaurs, as Emily explains herself. So when Fiat Chrysler looks to hire new employees, they look for people that are open to new ideas and able to add to innovation, which is something that these car companies are very eager to strive for. When asked how Emily is able to motivate her employees, she said something that we can all agree with. She says, money talks. And while that's very true, it's very obvious. And so aside from that very obvious motivator, she's able to motivate her employees by letting them know that they are valued and that they're recognized, and that goes a long way. She tries to implement various reward systems to incentivize hard work and encourage more of the same. Making sure that her employees receive credit for their hard work is something that is of major importance to Emily and a lot of managers alike. Oftentimes when employees that Emily manages have low performance, it's also because it's most of the time accompanied by low confidence as well. So reassuring employees that they got this job for a reason and that they are capable of performing to a high level is something that goes a long way for Emily's managerial style.
After looking into our client's company, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles as a whole, we're able to examine their long and storied history, along with the competitors they face in a very saturated market. We were able to essentially recommend, based on classical and modern management theories, how they can improve their team. She lies on the organizational chart within the company at a place where she can instill great change at a small level that can ultimately improve the functionality of our company as a whole. So nonetheless, that is our recommendation for Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and Emily Jedrick within the Ram 1500 plan.